Have you ever tested a sewing pattern? Because I hadn't, but recently I was invited to do so by These Days Sewing Patterns, which is really fun. And I did it. I tested a sewing pattern for the Dione dress, which is, I think, how you pronounce it. And Jade Elise on TikTok and all the other social media channels was the one who made the pattern. And you'll probably know her because she's the girl who can find a pattern for that, which is super cute, and I will link her below, and I'll link to her pattern, which is releasing today. So I highly recommend that y'all get it because it really is great. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what it was like to test a sewing pattern, but also how great the pattern is. So I'm Erin of Bison. Welcome to my channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, do your thing everywhere you can, because today we're going to get into talking about testing sewing patterns. So I tested this pattern and I was quite sure it was going to look terrible on me. I just thought it would make my hips look awful. And I was not convinced, but I wanted to test a sewing pattern to see what the experience was like. So I submitted and she picked me. Thanks. And I sewed the pattern. The feedback window ended a few days ago, which is really fun. And basically how it's set up is that she sent the pattern to us in the different formats and the instructions that she had, and then created a Discord for it so that we could give feedback, and had a form that we could fill out as well. So we could give all the feedback kind of anonymously, which is nice. I really appreciated that. And she was so good about the feedback folks were giving her as well. And some of it was really thoughtful. And it was just it was fun to see everyone make the same dress on different bodies and different prints, but sometimes different fabrics as well. So if you were one of her testers, please do post your dress because they look good, girl. They look good. I had to get a fabric that I had never used before. It was like a font de arms or something. It's just a stretchy knit, thicker than most. She also used scuba knit, which I have used scuba knit in the past. I can see how it could be flattering because it's like super smoothing. The fabric doesn't move as much, but I wasn't interested in that. So I did get the stretchy fabric she recommended on the pattern, and I pre-washed it because I am a good girl and I followed the rules. She gave really great instructions in this pattern. It's a fairly simple sew in my opinion. The bust, as you can see here, it's a little tighter at the top, and then it kind of curves your whatever kind of curves you have, it hugs that, and then it flares out at the bottom into a full skirt, which is quite flattering, honestly. But everyone has a different size bust because all bodies are different, but all bodies are also beautiful. Right. That's what I thought. Great. So to accommodate for a different bust to hip ratio, she offered directions for a full bust adjustment, which is fun. I learned about it in my sewing school that I took a couple years ago, so it was not news to me. But as someone who has learned to do a full bust adjustment in a sewing school, her directions were very clear, and I understood what she was doing, and it was great. And I feel like anybody who is even remotely interested in sewing could probably follow those directions and get to the outcome that they were hoping for. What else can I say about the dress? It's a lot of fabric. It's like it drapes. It's like it doesn't drape, but it's a heavy dress. It's not like a light summery dress. I know that we're technically still in summer, but if you think that I'm not already planning my fall fits, you're crazy. I am looking at a plaid up there that I am going to turn into a trench coat soon because I cannot help myself. So this would be a great fall dress, which is convenient because I have a wedding in October that I'm going to in New York, which is a step above casual, somewhere between jeans and a ball gown, is the directions I was given. So I think this will be perfect because it's a knit fabric, so it's rather casual, and it's a full length dress, which is just lovely. So something I learned is that you can layer your patterns on the PDF. So you can like delete sizes that you don't need. So you just see the one, which is kind of cool. I didn't realize that you could do that. I also didn't open it up in Acrobat because I wasn't on my work computer because I was, again, being a good girl and keeping my professional life and my sewing life separate. You're welcome. But while I think that's really great, and I think you can probably pick a few different layers to do that, I don't think I like, and I thought about it a lot, and I don't think I would do it. I have to grade everything because my proportions are just wild. And so even if I picked a couple of sizes that I thought would work, I like to use the kind of in between grade lines to sort of help make the curves. And sometimes I even have to go to the other direction and kind of help myself that way. So I think I would have kept them all, regardless. But it's something that I think is interesting to think about. And I did not know about it before, which is pretty cool. Overall, I'd be a sewing tester any day. And it's not actually free, as nothing in life is actually free. You do get the pattern for free, which is great, but you have to buy the fabric, which, we do anyways. It was super fun, first of all. And it was fun to see the process of making patterns at a professional level. I've only graded patterns that I use for myself. Frankly, the only pattern I've graded to have multiple grade sides is this robe right here, which I do have on my Etsy shop. It's a kimono style robe that goes all the way up to a 4X, which fits most bodies, but not all bodies. If you needed a different size, I have on there that you can contact me and we can work out how to make sure that one can fit for you. I digress because that's the only pattern that I have graded and drafted from a small all the way to a 4XL. And I did size it with other bodies. So I had a friend of mine who is a different body shape and size than I do test it on one end of the sizing scale. And then I had another friend who has a different body shape and size than I do test it on the other end of the scale to make sure we kind of met in the middle. And I'm not quite the middle of the size grade, but I'm close enough that it works out. I made it for men too, which is funny that you have to specifically say masculine for men to buy it, but if you do, they do. Yeah, I've sold 2 of them to men actually, and well, 3 actually. And if since I made a feminine version and a masculine version, men are buying it. I want you to know that they're nearly identical because it's a kimono style robe, and frankly, there's not much difference between the male version and a female version. So, joke's on you. But I have 2 listings on my shop because of patriarchy. So, yeah. Anyways, that's the only thing that I've size graded from a whole size range. And it was a lot of work. And I haven't digitized it because, well, I don't have the technology for that. And I don't have the desire yet to make patterns. Maybe one day I will, but like not today. So I'm not going to get the technology and I'm not going to learn how to do it right now. How long have you been here? How long have you been here? The pattern overall is great. I really, really like it. The additions that were made to it made it all the better. And I hope she appreciated it. I mean, she said she did, but like I hope it was like actually helpful for her, and not just like a time suck. Because sometimes you should only ask for the edits that you want, and not any other opinions, because people will give you all of their opinions. But her pattern is launching today, and it's the Dione Dress, and I think you should check it out and consider getting it because it's really phenomenal. And so now that we've yapped a lot, I'm going to go put the dress on and we're going to see how it looks. And here she is, the gorgeous Dione dress. Now, I personally think that my body looks fantastic in this dress. I feel so pretty. And I can just imagine styling it for all the different occasions that one might wear it to, and it would work in so many capacities. So, what do we think? Do we absolutely love the Dione dress? Because I love the Dione dress. I think she's super cute, and I'm very excited to have her and to wear her. I'm considering different fabric choices to make it a little bit more interesting, maybe some embellishments to like jazz it up. Maybe I'll just keep it a chic, elegant black dress. Either way, I absolutely loved pattern testing. Would do it again. Link below to go get her pattern from These Days Patterns. I highly recommend it. She's awesome and the pattern is great. I'm Erin of Bison. I hope you enjoyed hearing a bit more about sewing pattern testing. This is my channel, Bison. We talk about sewing, we talk about cuteness, we talk about style, we talk about body positivity. And I want you to like, follow, subscribe, comment, do all the jazz, because what else is there to do? Have you seen the world outside? It's way better to talk about sewing than it is anything else.